Hello guys, it's Zachary1021 here, and today I'm going to be doing a no-death run of King of the Monsters for the Sega Genesis. Well, I already did the long play itself, but before we get into that, I want to actually showcase the controls, some tips and tricks, and all that kind of stuff. Now, with me as player 2, you can you press jump please, A and B? Alright, thank you. So it'll be easier to demonstrate for second player since the CPU doesn't stand still, obviously. So without further ado, let's get straight into the controls. Now, first we have A, which is punch. B is kick. C is run. You can also double tap forward or backward to do the same thing. And as I said earlier, A and B is jump. If you hold A or B, or you hold two buttons, I think, you also get a charge move in which you can shoot a projectile. And of course the freaking ships in the sky is interrupting it, but yeah, there you go. So here's what you can do after a knockdown. When you knock the opponent down, you can either go for a pin by pressing A. You can press buttons to get out of it. Just like that. You can press B to pick the opponent back up for another grab. Like that. Or you can press C for a down attack. It's not too useful, but it is there, so don't be surprised if the CPU uses it on you. So now that I explained the controls, let me explain the basic premise of the game. The goal of the game is to get your opponent's HP bar to 0, and then go for a pin in order to get a 3 count. There is one catch, however. For human players, when your HP bar is 0 and you're getting pinned, if you mash the buttons hard enough, you can actually get out. So player 2 is going to demonstrate that in a bit, so I'm going to go for a pin.
I want you to know I didn't press anything.
Alright, now you can start pressing stuff. So as you can see, even though he had no HP, he got out of the pin. Maybe go for another pin. Right here. I want you to mash again. Okay, now that's the second time you got up. So now I'm going to do it a third time.
It's actually a bit harder to do that.
Yeah. So now I'm going to do it a third time, and no matter how hard you mash, it's just going to go straight to a 3 count. Just like that.
Wow, that's stupid.
Yeah. Also, this is technically like a training mode because see what happens when you press start. It's pretty cool stuff. All right. Now with the CPUs, it's a bit different in their case. The amount of times they can get up while they have no HP, it depends on two things. It depends on the difficulty and what level you're at in the game. So, for instance, if you're playing on, let's say, normal mode and you're on stage 1, they might get up only once and then the 3 count will go through. But if you play on the max difficulty, even the first stage alone, they'll get up like 3 times and then you'll be able to pit them. Which can make the game pretty difficult since you don't get all your health back after beating a stage. You only get like 40% back. Now that I explained the controls and what the goal is, maybe get into the deeper stuff. So, unlike some games, like let's say Beast Wrestler or something of the sort, grabs in this game are actually just 50-50. There's a 50% chance, and to demonstrate that, to grab someone, you simply just walk up to them. Now, player 2 is not going to press anything on his controller, and what I'm going to do is walk up to him for a grab. So, let me do that right now. Now, it is a 50-50, so either he'll grab me or I'll grab him. So if I walk up to him, as you can see, he didn't press anything, but despite that, I'm the one getting grabbed. So right now, if he presses A or up in A, he can get a grab right now. Just like that. And to explain the P, the power symbol that just popped up, when you grab an opponent and press up A or down A or up B or down B, you get a different grab and, well, a grab animation, and a P will fall out of the opponent and you can grab it. So when you get up to 10 Ps in total, this happens. Your character's color sprite will change and your projectile move will become different, like much bigger.
Oh shit.
Versus where if you don't have the power up, it will look a bit smaller. Now you can upgrade a maximum of 2 times in an arcade mode, After 2 times, all the P's do from now on is they give you points, and that's about it. So right now I'm facing the CPU, and I want to showcase what happens when you try to pick them up from the ground after getting a knockdown. So let me do that real quick. So easy to do that. I'm gonna go for the clothesline, pick them up. And as you can see, when I pick them up, like I said earlier, you can get an extra grab in. Now I'm gonna try doing it again. Now I'm getting kind of lucky here. I got another grab off. So clothesline, pick him up again. I didn't go through because he did a quick get up. Okay. And as you can see right there, like, I didn't grab him, but rather when I picked him up, he got up himself. Now there's 4 things that can happen when you pick up a CPU. I showed the first thing, which is when you grab them and you get a power symbol. Then I showed the second, in which like they get up on their own, and there's 2 more things. It's hopefully I can showcase it here. So that's the third thing that can happen. When you pick them up, they can go sometimes, because grabs are not guaranteed, they can get a grab themselves. So while it is useful to pick them back up in order to get more power symbols or points or even more damage for that matter, it can be risky sometimes because they can counter you. Now the 4th instance, and I don't know if it will happen, but they will grab you, like you be in the struggle position, but they won't do anything. So after the animation ends, both of you are next to each other. So when you pick up the CPUs, there's one of 4 things can happen. Of course, most of the times you can get another grab in and deal a lot of damage and get your power symbol up, which is the basic strategy you are supposed to use at the arcade to stand a chance. But of course, it can be risky at times, especially later on when you start facing CPUs and you barely have any health left, and one grab from them equals them getting a free pin since your health bar is 0. So that's how it is when you pick up CPUs. For humans, it might be more or less the same. Maybe it might depend on how they press buttons. I'm not exactly sure yet. But that's the basic premise of it. Now to talk about slow get-ups and quick get-ups. So when you knock a character down in this game, they do one of two different types of get-up animations. Either they get up slowly, in which the human or CPU has to press a button to get up, or they get up really fast on their own. Like, it's uncontrollable. Even if they have 0 health, they would just do the quick get up either way, and it happens automatically. Like, even the human doesn't have to press anything for the quick get up to happen. So I'm going to do something very specific, and I want you to pay close attention to the knockdown. I'm going to knock down player 2 3 times and look closely at the get up animation. So I want player 2 to mash when he's knocked down so that he can get up fast. Alright, that's 1. Gets up slowly. Alright, that's 2. Another slow get up. And now, if I do 3, that's the quick get up. Now, including the CPU, all monsters have a very specific pattern for get up animations. That is, when you knock them down once, it's a slow get up. The second time you knock them down, it's a slow get up still. And the third time, it will always be a quick get up. And when that happens, after the quick get up, it resets. It goes back to them slowly getting up when you knock them down. So you can think of it like 1-1-2, and it always does the same exact cycle no matter what. As long as you knock them down, you can always follow this pattern and take advantage. So now this is where we get into dash attacks. Now, these are the bread and butter if you want to stand a chance against both, well, technically the CPUs only, since I don't know why you'd just play against a human and do this. It's kind of corny. But if you want to cheese the CPU, at least in this version, it's not as effective in the arcade version because of reasons which I'll get into really quick. But let me explain something. So what I'm going to do is a dash attack, right? And then he's going to get up. Now, while the opponent is getting up, for 1 frame, they're vulnerable. Which means that if I have an attack out while they're getting up, they can't act or do anything about it, and they will get hit by the attack as long as the hitbox is active. So I'm going to do a knockdown, and then I'm going to do a dash attack right when he gets up. So that's 1. And that's 2. Now right there, what's happening right now He can't do anything about this. No matter what he presses, he will always get hit, except for right there, as long as you time it right. If you time it wrong, like I just did there, then it won't count. And the CPU will likely either get a hit off, or they would just be full screen or whatever, and it's back to neutral. So dash attacks are really overpowered. You can use it against the CPU a lot, especially in the Genesis version. And if you don't really care about the power of like upgrading your projectile, then you can just spam this, and even on the hardest difficulty, as long as you're consistent and you don't miss, they can always get it off. So of course, everyone's dash attack is different, so player 2 is about to show his. I think you gotta be like really close. There you go.
So bad. Hey, why would they make it so garbage?
Okay. So that's his. Now, one really good dash attack is the character I'm using, which is Geon's, because he does like a tackle. And the best part about it is that it's really active. So when he gets back up, which will take a while since his HP bar is 0, he can like do another one. Of course, I did mess up the timing, but that's fine. I'm gonna try it one more time. And like right there. So with Geon, it is a bit difficult. Well, only a little bit, because even though it's a really good dash attack, it does send the opponent upward or downward depending on the position. So you gotta like pretty much reposition yourself to go for another meaty dash attack. But it is still very effective, and if you don't think you can make it, or if you want to try something else, you can always do the other trick, which is to like grab the CPU and go for another grab. And as I showed you earlier, the rock dude, which is this guy right here, has one of the best dash attacks, because when you do the dash attack, you're right behind the enemy, and when they get up, you can get ready to do another one. So it's really useful. If you want to have a game plan of just focusing on a dash attack, I'd recommend this character right here. So there's two ways to play this game, at least against the CPUs. You can either just do nothing but dash attacks in which you don't give them a chance. This is effective since as long as you're consistent and you don't give them a chance, you can pretty much beat the game as long as you don't screw up, or maybe you're just really unlucky. And you'll be barely getting hit because you're not giving them a chance to get up. The only weakness to this kind of strategy is that if you're going for like a high score or something, it's not that useful, or it doesn't even give you power either, since you're just doing nothing but dash attacks and no grabs. So you want to be able to power up to strengthen your projectile. And like I said earlier, while dash attacks are pretty useful in the arcade version, it's not as effective, since sometimes, or most of the time, because the arcade version is finished, the CPU, when they get up, they can actually jump out of your active attacks by actually jumping out. It's not like the Genesis version where you're vulnerable for like one frame when you get up and you can get hit by another attack. Another way to play this is to go for a dash attack or something like that. Grab the opponent and then go for a grab. Now, as shown earlier, it won't always go your way. Sometimes nothing will happen, or sometimes the CPU will grab you back. But this is effective because at least the arcade version, and especially if you want the ending in the Genesis version, you have to put the timer to 3 minutes. And it doesn't matter how much health you have, but if the opponent has, let's say you're facing the CPU, if they have 0 health and you have 100% health and the time runs out, you get an instant game over. You have to insert another quarter, or in the Genesis case, you have to use a continue, and then the match restarts. But I do think they keep their HP though. So the biggest enemy is two things. It's either being impatient and taking too many hits and letting them get too many pin attempts, because while you can get out of the pin 2 times while you have no HP, you don't really want that to be the case, since they take more pins than you do. And the second way is to not be doing enough damage, and then you run out of time, and that's it, game over. So while the dash attack strategy is useful, you do remember that doing the knockdown into grab is technically more efficient, because the grabs do get damage, and since it leads to them being dizzied when they get up, you can charge up a projectile and hit them with another attack. So you can either go for high damage with risk, or you can go for not as much damage but no risk, as long as you can time the dash as well. And it should be noted that even though they don't do a lot of damage, you can still beat the game with just nothing but that, because the game just gives you barely enough time. Like if you do nothing but dash attacks in this game, you probably have for most of the matches you have like maybe 50, 40 seconds left. So you do have enough time to beat it that way, which is why I recommend if you don't want to take chances. But if you're just trying to play the game, I'd recommend the grabbing method. So now that I explained everything about this game, time to get into the long play. Hello guys, it's Zachary102. Don't move.
Oh my bad.
Alright. Alright, let me just explain stuff first and then you can start moving, but chill, please.
Yeah, alright. My bad.
Like, right now you was like acting like the computer just now, like chill. Alright, so there's a few things you can do while the opponent is down. So let me knock down. What the hell was that?
The ship blew up.
What was that? Why did you go all the way to the left?
The explosion happened. The explosion from the ship.
Yeah, but
I guess it hit me as well. Because I did take some damage.
Well, I gotta leave that in. Great. Alright. Now, of course, every character's dash attack is different. For example, if player 2 can do his right now. It's a dash attack. I didn't say to Let's try that again.
Yeah.
Okay. So, of course. Yo, chill! Hold on!
It's a dash attack!
Hold on! I gotta explain it again. Jeez. So, alright, let's go. How?
Hey, why would they make it so garbage?